Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm very sick.
And coming up today, which WWE legend could be coming back for one more match?
The Rock is coming back to SmackDown tonight, but could he too be set for one more match?
A huge update on the future of Finn Balor.
Ric Flair versus WWE over The Man. What the hell is going on?
And what did AEW ban from this week's Dynamite? This is the news.
But first, Dynamite. WWE NXT ratings breakdown. Here we go. We've got all the numbers that came out last night, and it was a major talking point all over the internet because Dynamite destroyed NXT in the first week of the ratings battle. I mean, they blew them out of the water here. Dynamite across the 2-hour broadcast on TNT drew 1.409 million.
So we were slightly off with our 6 million prediction.
A
smidge.
A little bit off. NXT came through with 891,000, down 11% on the previous week. Now, here's what's really interesting. The key 18 to 49 demographic, the one that WWE target constantly, or so we're told, Dynamite doubled NXT. They did 680k, NXT did 320k. 18 to 34 demographic, the gap is even wider. Dynamite 560k, NXT 230k. The only demographic in which NXT won was the 50 plus demographic.
Yes!
Old fogies watched the hell out of NXT, and a few less watched AEW, obviously. So last night we saw WWE try and get ahead of this story about an hour and a half before the numbers came out. They issued a statement saying, congratulations, but remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Kind of a got-into tactic by the company there, but they're technically right. Mm-hmm. This is week one. AEW Dynamite's premiere can only happen once. This number is maybe not so sustainable. I'd love it to be. Everyone should love it to be, really, because it's good for the business. But you'd expect it to drop off a little bit before kind of stabilizing, and then we'll maybe have a truer gauge of how this show is going to do going forward. But for week one, to beat an NXT show that was essentially marketed as like a mini takeover and was a really brilliant show. In fact, if you put a gun to my head, I might even have preferred the NXT show. It's really good stuff and encouraging stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's great news for both shows, really. I mean, it was understandable that NXT was going to drop viewers on the launch of AEW. I think it would make sense that the new kid on the block would get most of the eyes. The two things I want to take away here is, yes, obviously it's really interesting to see not only how going forward in terms of that plateauing that Andy mentioned, also in terms of whether or not people in the second week go, let's give the other show a chance. Let's see what that looks like, first of all. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, in terms of the fact that it wasn't just NXT stealing viewers from AEW. If you combine those two figures, that's nearly what, 3 million basically?
It's very high, basically. 2.5.
Which is brilliant news. And another thing I saw someone's pointing out online, which I thought was really valid, because like you say, they both put on fantastic shows. This is really, really good for wrestling fans, because if NXT had beaten AEW, disregarding how good AEW's show was, you would sense that NXT may, I saw someone use this phrase, put the queue away. They may think, well, that's that. We've defeated AEW, and yeah, maybe they'll snatch some viewers and maybe it's in the ratings going forward. But we know whenever we want to, we can just blow them out of the water. This means AEW are obviously going to continue putting on a great show because they are winning the ratings war, and NXT will continue to do good stuff because they know they've got a gap to make up. Now, it's kind of generally accepted that AEW will probably always get more viewers than NXT, but it's good to see NXT just putting on a fantastic show as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It'll be really interesting to see how NXT reacts, because really, if this was a gunfight on night one, they kind of emptied the chamber, right? I mean, they threw massive bombs. They threw 3 title matches. They opened with Cole versus Riddle. They had Finn Balor. They had Tommaso Ciampa. Big bombs everywhere. Now that they have some ground to catch up, what do they do next? What is the escalation? And I think that is so exciting because they now have to raise their game if they want to try and catch up, if they want to overtake Dynamite in the ratings war, and they very well may over the coming weeks.
Do you think
so it's gonna be cool.
The overrun with the reveal of Ciampa may help NXT's numbers going forward? Because if I was an AEW fan and switched over and saw Tommaso Ciampa returning, I might be inclined to watch the beginning of NXT next week, because he, I sense, will probably be the first guy out there.
Yeah, I think it was a very smart tactic. Look, we have an extra 10 minutes come over to at the end of the show. Oh, wow, that's a big hook. It's Tommy Ciampa. He's back. Yeah, absolutely. I do think that will make a difference. I can't wait for these week 2 numbers, man. What a time to be alive.
And it's SmackDown tonight with The Rock. But we've got lots and lots to get into, so let's move on and talk about Edge. Very interesting story about Edge. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he has got a new deal with WWE, something we kind of already knew about, but he got it by negotiating with AEW as well. So they sort of had to give him a new deal. But the other massive takeaway here is there has also been talk of him doing one more match.
Interesting.
Oh, and that's the sound of Adam Nicholas exploding.
So the key thing here is that, of course, at SummerSlam, we saw Edge return to physical action for the first time since 2011 when he speared, since his retirement, when he speared Elias on the kickoff show. So if you look at his Instagram account recently, the guy has been getting jacked. He's been getting into Saudi Arabia shape, baby. And yeah, it definitely sounds like he's secured this new contract by playing America's 2 big promotions off one another. Very smart, very clever. However, Meltzer does note in the Observer as well that there's a big question mark as to whether or not he can actually be cleared. I think when he retired, it was basically, if you keep going, you could be paralyzed.
Yeah. So it was instant, wasn't it? It was, he literally found out the news and then had to retire.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, he just defended the title like 2 nights before, 1 night before, whatever it was. It's really difficult to say whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Ultimately, the medical professionals are the ones who should be trusted, and whatever they say should probably just be accepted by everyone who isn't a medical professional. But regardless of whether he wrestles or not, good for Edge for getting a big payday, baby.
He's an absolute legend, and yeah, you're spot on there. As much as myself and probably most WWE fans would love to see Edge have one more match, regardless of who it's against or where in the world it occurs, the first priority has got to be his health. So no matter how jacked he is, how much you'd love to see him face off against anyone, this is exactly the same as Stone Cold, unless he is medically cleared, unless it's as safe as, well, in wrestling safe can be, it shouldn't happen.
100%. Speaking of guys who are really jacked and might wrestle again, The Rock. He's back on SmackDown tonight. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait.
My childhood hero.
Can't wait to see big, juicy Dwayne back on our screens. No idea what he's going to do tonight. But Randy Orton was being Randy Orton on Twitter last night, and he tweeted the following: at The Rock, I see you will be at SmackDown on Fox this Friday. How about you and I have a discussion about who's the greatest third-generation star of all time, and we answer that question April 5th in Tampa at WrestleMania 36. A Viper's sense of smell is unmatched. I smell what you're cooking. Now, obviously there, Randy Orton challenging Dwayne The Rock to a match at WrestleMania 36. Randy Orton likes fannying around on social media, so there's every chance he's just doing this so that, I don't know, we would sit here and record a video, and Reddit would be like, oh, this would be a cool match, and Twitter would be like, oh, yes, this would be a cool match.
And YouTube would be like, here's what a promo would look like between the two.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's The Rock wrestling again, so it's exciting.
I don't care who he faces. I want to see The Rock wrestle again. And as much as I've poo-pooed Randy recently for his god-awful matches, yeah, it might actually work if he slows down. Like, imagine the Rock doing his comeback after headlocks and,
Chinlock City.
Yeah, and him just stamping on different body parts. And then, look, I don't want to see him get RKO tonight. I want him to see him cut a brilliant promo, as he's probably going to do, and probably, knowing him, have absolutely zero physical interaction with anyone. But I'll be into it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun. It's The Rock. I just like seeing The Rock, so... yeah.
Can't wait for tonight. Let's give you an update, though, on the situation of Finn Balor, of course, returning to NXT this week after Adam Cole retained his NXT Championship against Matt Riddle. And the report on Wrestling Observer Radio by Dave Meltzer seems to suggest that is it for Finn Balor. He is going to be on NXT full-time, but on main roster money.
Baby. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it probably might have been quite a hard sell to go, hey, Finn, we're going to put you back to NXT. And you'd be like, oh, cool, that's great, can't wait. Yeah, but we're going to cut your pay in half. That would have probably been a really tough one for Balor to accept, despite, obviously, the fondness he may have for NXT and the different style of product. Yeah, good for him. He's a bigger star than anyone else in that brand. He made one hell of an impression on the show this week, and I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah, it seems to be the perfect fit for him. He's been written off the main roster, of course, with his interactions with The Fiend at SummerSlam, and hopefully this could be the catalyst for more people getting main roster money, whether they're on the main roster now or not, but staying in NXT.
How about putting the NXT guys on main roster money as well now that they're on USA? That'd be really nice.
Yeah, they have got a lot of money.
Yeah, they really do. Throw some of that their way, oh Vince.
And my way. I'll be completely biased if you want to pay me.
Me too.
I'll send you my PayPal. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's roll. Last story from me. We have Ric Flair WWE legal battle over the man. Reported on that a short while ago.
Woo!
You may have seen on Raw. Ric Flair returned. Hulk Hogan popping segment, biggest segment by segment viewership in ages apparently.
Carnage, that on it.
And you might look at that and go, oh well, Ric's legal troubles with WWE, they must be over. Why else would they be cooperating? No, they're not. This is according to Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week. He notes that they are still very much at legal loggerheads. However, Saudi Arabia personally requested Flair for Crown Jewel, which is why we have Team Flair versus Team Hogan. And the network were like, hey, well, we want Ric Flair on the show as well because he's a big name, so get him in. So they got him in, and he's going to be on Fox as well tonight. So this came from pressure from outside stakeholders, basically. Saudi Arabia and the networks were like, hey, get this guy on TV. WWE were probably like, sure enough, fine, okay. And thus Ric Flair is still kicking about. Now, Meltzer also writes that as far as the legal battle goes, the belief in WWE is that Flair really doesn't have a leg to stand on. Obviously, he thinks that the man belongs to him because of to beat the man, you got to be to be the man, you got to beat the man. He claims he's been using that since 1981. Almost certainly has. But come on, it's a total stretch, isn't it?
Just words you say, Rick. That
Yeah. I can call myself, my name's Andy. I can't sue everyone named Andy who was born after me.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Although,
I give it a pass, actually. Is the tennis guy older or younger than me? Because he's got a lot of money, and I'd like some of
I
that.
reckon. Ooh.
He's a piece of trash anyway.
Hey, you're called Andy Roy, like a tennis player. I wonder if people should mention that in the comments more.
Wow, yeah, good.
Also,
Thanks, mate.
Legal Loggerheads is the name of a fantastic new tag team. IRS and David Otunga. Make it happen. Legal Loggerheads,
God
Vince.
almighty.
Legal Loggerheads. Get it sorted. We all want this to be resolved. It's nonsense, Rick. Drop the suit.
I told you not to make me laugh.
Let's move on to the final news story of today and an interesting development surrounding AEW's Dynamite show. Now, we've all heard about WWE taking signs off people and making people change T-shirts because they're wearing, Bucks T-shirts or whatever at the front row of SmackDown. But it's been reported by Dave that AEW confiscated signs, but because they're obviously the babyface promotion in all this, they're the good guys. AEW confiscated anti-WWE signs that would have been, no doubt, absolutely everywhere for their first ever TV show. Now, the interesting thing, of course, was there was that massive Vince fears rating sign. But beyond that, there wasn't really a lot of anti-Vince stuff, and I quite like that. Look, we've mentioned this a million times. There's no need to hate on the other show. Just enjoy your show if you're going to pick a brand, which you don't have to because they're both mint.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm generally in favour of little pot shots like the ones Kenny Omega and that have been taking because they're trying to galvanise their base and, their base generally likes that. Now, I do think that stuff has a limited shelf life and I do think there's a lot to lose from having a TV show that's just full of anti-WWE signs. I think that would have been very, very childish and small time and silly. A little bit of it's fun. Too much of it is overkill and makes you look stupid. So good on them. You don't want to create this tribal audience that's just, my team is amazing, your team sucks. That's not a good look. Tony Khan's not fond of it. I like this. Good move.
Two of my favourite phrases. Don't chase the competition, chase the dream. Losers focus on winners. Winners focus on winning.
Oh my goodness.
Take that with you today. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. As always, first question coming in today comes from Daniel Holland, who says, I know it's early to start asking questions, but do you think The Rock should have a Legends contract? In this contract, it says The Rock can have a match at WrestleMania against anyone he chooses.
I think from the company standpoint, that would be absolutely fantastic because it's The Rock and he's Hollywood's biggest, highest paid star and all this other stuff. But from The Rock's standpoint, I don't really see the benefit. He might have fun with it, but we've heard all these stories in the past about how wrestling is very complicated for him because if he gets injured, and he has been injured in his last few matches, apart from the Eric Rowan one, obviously, because it lasted a cup of coffee, that might put his acting career in trouble. He might miss filming, might have all kinds of rambunctions with regards to that. And also there's an insurance issue. His acting insurance wouldn't necessarily cover wrestling. Problems. I'm not so sure Rock, he just doesn't need to do it. I'd love to see it happening. He doesn't need to do it.
Yeah, I think this would benefit WWE far more than it would benefit The Rock. Although, as much as I agree with you, Daniel, I think it'd be a great idea to have him have a legendary contract. I'd love to see it. I also think an element of the sort of the novelty of The Rock would be lost if you just know at every WrestleMania he's just going to come along and go, let's just have a fight.
Yeah, Heath Slater, let's go.
Right, let's move on to the second question today. It comes from Silverblade.
Legend.
Who says, with the ending of Dynamite, could we see a Survivor Series-esque match of Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, Hager, and Guevara versus Omega, Cody, Dustin, and the Bucks?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I absolutely think that something could happen. Whether or not they'd go for an elimination-style match because Survivor Series is such a WWE thing, I don't think that's necessarily something they would go with. But yeah, no, that was the feeling I got coming out of that match. I think they might... Sorry, like I said, I'm very ill. They might sub Kenny out of that match because he's got issues with Moxley and other things going on. Marty Scurll's contract's coming up soon. Seems like the most logical destination for him. That might happen. Either way, yeah, absolutely.
I think so. I agree with that in terms of the 5-on-5 match might be slightly tweaked so it doesn't, because you've got basically a Survivor Series match going on at Crown Jewel, then Survivor Series. I don't know when this is going to go down between these guys, but yeah, I can see it happening, and I would agree that as much as I'd like to see that 5-on-5 match, it would probably make sense for AEW to add that element of intrigue to have the whole mystery partner thing, or mystery,
Then Marty
member
comes
of
down,
the team.
Umbrella, Plague Doctor's mask. Cool.
I'd love to see it. Right, final question today comes from Brad Riffresh, who says, do you think now NXT is more prominent that the women's tag titles will be defended on there as originally said? It could give a good opportunity for some of the NXT females to shine and adds prestige to the belt.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, absolutely. I think it could happen, I think it should happen, and I think it will happen.
Just do what you originally said. Have those belts defended on all shows, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for that.
And put it back on the Iconics. Iconic!
Jesus.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and there is literally only one thing we can put up right now.
Couldn't be anywhere
We've got to
else.
give a massive shout out to Grande and
Friend of the channel,
yes,
legend.
friend of the channel, formerly Fat Momoa.
That's the one.
Yep. Who's obviously been out and about, been meeting wrestlers, and has met the legend that is your friend and mine, Gangrel. He writes, worth every penny because I love you guys.
Awesome.
Here is a picture
So awesome.
of Gangrel holding up a hashtag "This is the news" sign. Honestly, just put that on Andy's tombstone right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Pin it up. Awesome. I love this. I laughed my ass off when I saw this. It's great.
Thank you so much for that. Any other wrestlers you can get to say "This is the news" or "Poosh" will be greatly appreciated. We are still working on that cameo fund. I think it's going to happen, to get some wrestlers involved in
we have
This Is the
sold a
News.
lot of those mystery boxes. I mean, we can even get Big E. We'll see. We'll see.
Putting it out there, but yes. Thank you once again to Grande Andrade for that one.
Legend.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts too. Plus, you can send us your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. And while you're there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Marley. The H stands for healthy, which I am not.
No, and you can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all, as I said, at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon. Legal loggerheads!